So the other day, I put out a poll asking y'all what video y'all would like to see, and well, what won, at least right now, is a video guide on GameMaker. So this isn't going to be like most videos, it's not a tutorial or anything, I'm just kind of explaining it more, so it's a bit easier for beginners who understand everything that's happening. If you want any more videos or any like more detailed tutorials, let me know. I'll be happy to make them. So, this is GameMaker. If you don't already have a project, all you had to do is click New, then Game, and then what I usually do is just blank game, blank pixel game. But since I already have a game, I'm just going to open it so I can show you. Now, just the basics that you need to know so far is right over here. This is where you can change certain things about anything you select. Right here is where everything is stored that's in the game, and everything is just split up into objects, rooms, sounds, sprites. Objects are just everything that you see in the game. So like, this is the player object. This is what you play as. And then rooms, of course, are rooms that you go to. Here's the main menu. And then just all the different rooms that there are. You can have basically as many as you want. For these are groups. You could just click create group. They basically don't do anything, but it's really good for organization. And you can find things easier, so you can see I use a bunch of groups so I don't get lost. And it's just pretty simple. Like, you see if I click on an object down here, it shows the object. Some more basics I will go over is events. So events are just where all of the code is held and what causes that. So there's a bunch of different events. Create is when the object is created, then it runs the code in there. Destroy, when the object's destroyed. Don't necessarily know what cleanup is. Step is every single frame. So like, if you want movement code, put it in the step for every single frame. Then there is draw, which is when the sprite is drawn on the screen, which is different from create. Mouse, just what happens when the mouse. Then certain key presses, which I wouldn't use unless if it's like just one key for one. Like, if it's the only thing that the object does is check for a key being pressed, that's when I would do it. But if there's like, for the player, there is a bunch of different movement keys, so I would put them in variables. Now the code, I will go over some tips and stuff for starting out coding, but not right now. That is the basics. I think that's all you really need to know. So that's just the basics. Sprites. So sprites are probably just one of the most useful, or of course it's going to be the most useful. It's going to be basically what you see, everything. And then the sprite, I can create a new sprite so I can show you like some helpful tips and stuff for making pixel art. Now, when you're beginning, I would recommend to just keep the same size, but me personally, I prefer the look of 16 by 16 sprites. Though the smaller the sprite is, the harder it is to make. Like, it's harder to add more details to smaller sprites. So if you're just beginning, I would recommend starting out at like 32 by 32 or 64 by 64. Because it's just simpler and easier to understand. But I'll go over all the tools here. This is just a normal pen. You can left click to draw this color, right click to draw the other color, and then you can switch them by left clicking or right clicking in the color palette. Next is just eraser, pretty self-explanatory, just erases. Then next is the color remover. You just select any color. So if you have a bunch of different colors but you don't want one, just click that, it removes all of the color. This is the swap color. So if I like right click that, it swaps. And then I can like switch to this and then it swaps to that. Then the fill tool, it's similar to the replace color tool, but it only does touching pixels. So like right there, it doesn't hit these at all. So if you're like filling all one color, I would just do this to fill it, because it's a lot easier. The next thing is line tool. Again, pretty self-explanatory, just draws a line. This is very like helpful, because if you just draw a line like this, it won't look good. But instead, if you draw a line like this, it'll look a lot better and smoother. Next is the 3 shape tools. Now these have 2 different variants each. The top one is going to be like hollow shapes. Triangles, you have to select 3 points when drawing it. And then the next one is filled, which just has the shapes being filled instead of outlines. The next is arc tool, which I don't use most of the time, but I think the way you use it is you place a point, place 2 points, and then you can, I don't really know how to use this. But just don't use it. Just, if you want an arc, draw a circle and then remove half of it. That's the easiest way to get an arc. Text tool is, when using it smaller, it can be kind of hard. I would recommend turning off anti-alias. I don't know how to pronounce that. But once you get smaller, it's pretty hard to read, but it's just simple text. You can change the font up here, the style of the font. Pretty simple. Next is the paint dropper tool. It just grabs the color of anything. So like if I want this orange color, boom. Next is the select tool. You can select things and then move it around, or press delete to delete it. And also, if you select only a specific area and then start drawing, you can only draw in that area. It can get annoying sometimes accidentally doing that. Just click off to the side like that. Then is paint selection. This is just basically you select anything you want. So like if you have a complicated shape like this, but you only want to select that, you can simply go like this, and then boom, move it around. Then magic wand will just select all of, it's like the fill tool, but it selects instead of filling. So you can select certain things. Rotate, yeah, I wouldn't. These down here, I think, are used for when you copy something, or it copies something for you. So let me go over how copying and pasting works, because it's different than most things. So if I just cut this, Control X, it saves it as a brush, so you can just paste it around anywhere. And also, if the color's anything but white, then it'll have that tint of a color. If I used a color other than black, you'll be able to see. But if I get this, the color's white, so it would be that red that I choose, but if I said it's black, it's black. And then it's just, like, tints the color. And then rotating. Unless if you're doing sharp 90 degrees, rotation isn't too helpful. But you can, like, rotate it like this. And then you have sideways face. And then flipping does exactly that. It can flip it. This flips horizontally or vertically. This flips horizontally. Then pan image. What does this do? It just moves, I think, everything around. Yeah, it just moves everything around. So if you need to just move everything quickly. And then layers, they're very helpful, so you can draw, like, the back of something, and then in this layer you can draw anything on top of that, and then if you, like, go ahead and try and erase this, it'll still have that backing for it. Just normal layer stuff. Tile sets can be kind of complicated if you're setting up auto tiling, but auto tiling, it's only for certain scenarios that you want auto tiling. But here, if you're going to want auto tiling, you're going to have to make the tile set based off of the auto tile. So the way you make tile sets is you make a sprite with however many pixels for each tile, and the first tile right here always has to be blank. Nothing goes here. And then you can, what I did for this was I just made an outline for this, copied it, and then pasted it to each one so I know where each tile is, and then made each one based around the tile set auto tiling for 47 tiles, which looks like this if you want to replicate it in any way. And then whenever you have a tile set, then you're able to use it in a room. I guess while I'm explaining this, I can explain rooms a bit. So, rooms are just, you can put any objects in it, and then have the objects do whatever the objects are meant to do. You can rescale any object in it. The default size for rooms are decently big. The room size that I usually go with is 200, 150. And if you want, like, a camera that follows the player, you can have that here. It is very confusing. I don't necessarily understand it fully. But viewport is basically how big the window is, while camera is how big the camera is and where is it at. And then you can make the object following with borders. I have this at 200, 150, 800, 600, but I don't usually use it too often because it's very weird and wonky. If you want to learn more on how to use it, I would just recommend searching it up. And then rooms, if you want to add a tile set, you just click add. You can add layers for background. Instances is where the objects go, and then tile is for tile sets. Then you can go here, select the tile set. Then if you have an auto tile, just select libraries and auto tile, and it'll just do what it's meant to do, which is auto tile. And you can make any room, just like this. And then you can like add an object into it. You have to select the layer and then add an object. The next thing I am going to go over in GameMaker, it uses something called GameMaker language, which has a ton of documentation on, so you can always search something up if you don't know how to do something. But it's just like, it's one of the more forgiving coding languages, because it's like a mix between, a bunch of different languages, like Lua, JavaScript, a bunch of things, so you can get away with a lot more than other ones. Variables, you don't even need to put var. Most times I don't. Like right here, this is just me making a variable with no var because you don't need it. And if you want very simple movement code, you can look at this. It's not too complicated. I'm not going to explain this all, maybe in a different video. But coding is pretty simple. There's also a visual coding built in, but to me that's more complicated. But if you want to use it, go ahead. No one's stopping you. And that is everything that I'm going to explain in this video. If you want more detailed explanations on everything, you can let me know by supporting the video. But that's going to be it for this video.